Sensory Spaces is a series of commissioned projects to artists, which the museum started a few years ago. It's located in what we call the Villa van der Voom Gallery, which is an open space or a modular area that accommodates different needs. Every commissioned project deals with the use of the space or the transformation of it. For the first time, music is involved as a primary expression.
When I got the invitation for Sensory Spaces, I was very intrigued by the concept that you dedicate a space and you want that people experience the space in different levels, not like just a visual thing. The work that I chose for the space is a work which gives you the experience of space as a sound. Not only that you have sound in the space, really that the space itself is connected to sound. You can lay down on the little pedestal what we have built, you can hang out there, you can walk, but I think you will walk anyhow because the design on the panels, the wall drawings are made in a way that you can only see them when you walk around.
Olaf is interested in translations, so I was interested in an act of translation from a language to another, from a discipline to another. Therefore I was interested in hybridism. That was the starting point.
When you see the shapes, they are looking very geometrical, and they are in fact also based on an architectural language because the proportions what they use are the proportions which were given in the modular system by Le Corbusier. But the whole idea to use it that way and to make a kind of open score ready for interpretation, also for improvisation, came from an encounter with a piece of architecture, a monastery, La Tourette, which is near to Lyon. And when I visited it, the most impressive thing for me were the glass panels, the windows of the monastery. There you have amazing long hallways with these glass panels, and especially when the sun is shining, you see the patterns on the floor. The leading person in the whole process of construction was a composer, Yanis Xenakis. At that time he was not famous as a composer, he was working for Le Corbusier as an architect. Designing these kind of windows, these kind of glass panels, he asked Corbusier how he wanted to have it, and then he said, design it as you want it, but use the modular system. And so he did it. So when you look at it, it is really, you see it, these are rhythms which are not repeating. They are really, they look like arbitrary. And at the same time when he designed these windows, he was working on his first composition, Metastasis. And later he was highlighting all the time the connections between the two. When I was visiting the monastery again for a different project, we had the luck to have a professional singer with us, and she is very well trained and she knows the compositions by Xenakis. So one evening we had time and I just asked her, do you mind to have a look? I have this idea that you could use this as a notation and you could maybe interpret them. And then she said, why not? And so we did that. From there I knew, okay, there is a way how you can play with notation. The moment when you use something as a score, as a notation, where you have more or less an abstract notation, you must make a translation into certain parameters you have to choose. So it is up to you. When we encounter something and we make it part of our own universe, or when we want to make sense of things, that this process of translation is very important. It is translation and it's improvisation at the same time, but it's not arbitrary in a sense that there is nothing what is a link. So the proportions are quite important. So when I invited 3 different singers to do that, I did it in a way that I gave them some specifics, but I never was very clear about it. They asked me, and I said, no, I let it up to you because I'm also interested in your way of presenting it. None of them were listening to the other, so they did it very separately. And when I had at the end all the songs, then in the studio I had this idea, what happens if I put them together? You have a duet, what you can listen to now, which was never meant to be a duet. There's also this idea of a collaboration that we invite people to use the score for their own purpose. So that we collaborate with people from the School of Music and see how they interpret it.
Olaf is a conceptual artist, but I think he's one of the few artists whose work combines a sensibility, I would say, to the organs and at the same time to the brain. It stimulates both. The work is based on research, fine, intelligent research, but at the same time it carries a strong romantic feeling. This combination we don't find it so often.
I mean, I'm happy if the audience starts to do that as well. You can bring your guitar or you can use hand clapping.